the law of perpetual energy transmutation.
Okay. Yes.
And pretty much what it says is, as alchemists, we're able to alchemize anything and every single experience into what we choose to, right? Like water can be water, it can be ice, it can be
Steam.
gas.
Yeah.
Right? So we can take all of our pain, all of our struggle, we can take all of our love, and we can transmute that by opening ourselves up to the possibilities.
Yes.
So can we take the pain from our trauma or childhood or whatever and transmute? So I honestly think about every situation as
We are
the
creators.
opportunity. 100%.
So 100%, right? Because I'm going to take the pain from that trauma and I'm going to create something beautiful out of it.
How does one do that?
I don't know that there's a recipe. You know what? Like to say, hey, this is transmutation happening. We know that energy doesn't disappear. It only changes form.
Of course.
So if I have the energy of pain,
Yes.
and then later on in life, I don't have that much pain, what happened to that? It transmuted.
Of course.
It must have. So, what did I do with that specifically? Did I breathe it out? Did I shake it out? Did I write it out? Did I cry it out? At some point, it was transmuted if it's no longer there, if it's no longer of that density.
Agreed.
So that might be a very, dense is the word, I guess, right? That's like a dense representation of what we're trying to talk about. But I can transmute nervousness, right? And in a moment, maybe I'm nervous about something that might happen, and I'm worried about it. I'm feeling anxiety about something, or I can transmute that in that moment and say, okay, this isn't anxiety. Really what this is, my body's keeping me safe. My body is thinking about all these different scenarios that could happen.
Of course.
And so here I am preparing myself for the worst of the worst.
Exactly.
But what about if the best case scenario happens? Or what I like to say, what if it ends up being better than I could have even imagined?
Of course.
I've transmuted that anxiety into a hopeful perspective.
Or you transmute into courage.
There you go, even better.
Right?
Yes.
Like the courage to take the next step moving forward. Right? Okay. But the key to what you said that I think is so powerful is that it's the awareness of that anxiousness.
You have to be aware.
Like
Correct.
that's like, so that I think that is the key is how can we share the process of becoming more aware of your actual feelings.
Yes.
Like how do you shine that light on those parts of the consciousness that are just habitual patterns that you've been conditioned into? How does one see there? Because you can't transmute
But you don't
unless
see.
exactly
You got to be aware.
Right?
Yeah, I think it comes down to presence, and
Presence.
that's my own personal struggle. And, what I'm always trying to aspire for is more presence in my life.
How in your life right now do you find more presence?
Through gratitude,
Gratitude.
through slowing myself down. I got that crazy ADHD brain. I'm always going. I'm always thinking about what's next.
Gotcha.
So I have to make deliberate practices of slowing down. I'll start my mornings off a little slower. I journal a lot. I write poetry, and nature, time in nature. Even if I'm just sitting in my yard, just looking and just sitting down, listening to the birds, right? Like this isn't something I do all the time. I'm not out there meditating, levitating. I wish I was, but I move fast just like everybody else.
Of course.
But I definitely
But you
deliberately try to make
understand the
time.
importance of being present.
And I feel when I'm not, if I go like however many days it might be where I haven't given that to myself.
Gotcha.
I know it, right? And my car gets a little messy and my room gets a little bit messy and I can see like this, what I would determine or what I would call like a chaos, right? It's not really chaotic. Like I come from true chaos. This is not that kind of chaos.
Of course, yeah.
But, we recreate what we're used to.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, I think that's my baseline is like more of a chaotic state because for so many years I functioned there. And ultimately, I learned to thrive there.
Because you had no choice.
Yes, I had no choice. And ultimately, I thrived there. So when shit's going crazy, I'll be all right.
You'll thrive.
Yeah, but I don't have to be like that.
Exactly.
And again, right, it comes down to that awareness. So creating that space, creating that
It's like
quiet,
you don't have to go out of your way to put yourself in a chaotic environment in order to
remove yourself from it, right?
Yeah.
And then be like, hey,
But if it comes
good
up,
job.
you handle it.
Yeah, if it comes up, you handle it, right? But it's like, hey, man, the least chaos is the best.
I'm with you.
And really, getting back to what you said, I think that helping people see that, I think that's unique to each person's journey, because I might say something that resonates deeply with you, and the next person's like, I don't like that guy's voice.
Of course.
You know what I mean?
Agreed.
Yeah.
So there's something that I heard yesterday, and I hope I can say this right. It blew me away.
Okay. Shoot, go ahead.
Like my meditations last night were like just on fire after hearing this, because I heard Law of Perpetual Transmutation. I heard that yesterday, and
So you just heard that in a meditation.
No, I heard
You heard
it
it
like
somewhere.
I heard it on a video on YouTube.
Law of Perpetual
and
Transmutation.
for some reason it caught my attention. I started reading and looking it up, and it was like I got brought there through a couple of breadcrumbs. In that morning, I heard this video that talked about being an alchemist, and that there's like why we're here on Earth, and we came here to alchemize Earth. And so I heard that in the morning, and then I'm seeing all these things, and then it went into like perpetual transmutation. I'm like, oh, that's alchemy. Like we're taking we're taking whatever bronze and turning it into gold, right? So what I heard, though, to go along with that was there was a guy who I guess has been sober for a long time, and he had this post, which is awesome. And it said, I thought when I gave up alcohol, I was giving something up. But in reality, I was taking something back.
Makes sense to me.
And so it's almost like his attention that went towards alcohol and the effects on his body and everything else.
Absolutely.
He thought like, man, I gotta have to give up alcohol. But in reality, alcohol was taking from him the presence of being who he was meant to be, right?
Yes.
So then he's like, now I look at it as I'm gaining back all that attention and energy and health. I'm actually getting it back. And for some reason, the way that I read that, it made me just really think deeply about where all my attention is. And that if I could take all of that attention and bring it here, what would that be like? And so when I went into my meditations yesterday, I like kind of went into nothingness, and I was I could just feel the vibes. Like I could feel the energy pulsing through my body.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Acknowledging that like it is all about our attention. Where is our attention? We never in this world, this crazy world right now, we're always looking out.
Yes. And think about how valuable attention is now. That's the thing. That's
how much
what
you
everybody
pay for it on Facebook and everything else, right?
And you know what? Like the perspective that gentleman shared was that alcohol was taking from him.
Exactly.
And that's amazing. So it's like, I'm giving, it's taking. So where else am I giving my attention? Where else am I giving my energy?
Exactly.
That's all we do is give, give, give. But that is our nature, I think, right? Like the tree who doesn't ask for money for the shade, it just does it.
Exactly.
So we're just going to naturally give, but it's like you've got to give to where you're also receiving.
100%.
Without the intention of receiving, right?
Correct.
It's like it's such a dichotomy, but it's like I think it's just the altruistic nature.
It's almost just like a being. It's like I think that's kind of like when you're in that middle space, because if you're actually being, there's always going to be the natural waves of giving and receiving.
Yes, absolutely.
Right?
And it isn't.
Because you said trying way back early in this conversation. You said trying. Sometimes when we're also trying, we're not in alignment with where we're supposed to be.
Correct. And you're acknowledging the lack.
Yeah.
Right. So I have to try because what I want or who I am is not here now.
Exactly.
So I'm giving more energy and attention to what's not than what I'm trying to make is.
Exactly.
Yeah. Wow.